Faust are a krautrock band from Germany. They existed from 1971 to 1975, and after quite a big gap, then again from 1990 to the present day. And they're known for being experimental in a krautrocky kind of way. They initially released 2 albums and then got signed to Virgin Records and released 2 more albums, the first of which was sold at the price of a single rather than an album. And then in 1975, Virgin rejected their 5th album and they broke up. And then they were listed as having disappeared. And the next 15 years basically are shrouded in mystery. Nobody, presumably somebody does, but it's not known what they were doing or, what was going on during that period. In 1990, they then re-emerged and started touring, and in fact, since then, they have released 10 more albums. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the 4th album by Faust, and I have had a copy of this for a while, because at one point in the past, when I got interested in krautrock, I had a bit of a splurge and got a load of krautrock all in one go. But I don't actually particularly remember this album. One of the problems when I have had these occasional splurges is that I'll listen to a few things a few times and then, I'll wander off. Something shiny over there will distract me. And so I don't necessarily have strong memories of particular albums with this. This happened with krautrock. It's also happened with jazz for me. So let's do some description. So some of the tracks here are long, evolving, ambient, space rocky things, in a very much a krautrock kind of way. I think those are entirely instrumental. I feel like I'm pulling that out of the air, and I'm not entirely sure I can justify that, but I think I'm probably at least somewhat right. The first track for krautrock, for example, it was interesting that they call the track after the genre, and the name krautrock is one that was initially used as a slightly derogatory term, and several of the bands who were labelled with it rejected it. Faust obviously embraced it, and in here it's a big continuum of sound for about 2/3 of it. It's 10, 12 minutes long, something like that. And so it's without strong rhythm for the first 2/3, and then the drums coming in, doing a slightly modified version of a drum pattern that was particularly prevalent in krautrock called the motorek. There's, alongside these space rocky tracks, there's some songs, and the songs are more kind of hippie-like or maybe prog-like. I'm not sure what the right phrase for it would be. They kind of hark back to 60s style songs and singing and the instrumentation. So some of their fans apparently thought that they'd sold out in this album in the fact that they were doing songs, and thought, they're trying to go for more mass appeal. But other people think that these songs are really good songs and really important parts of Faust's back catalogue. There's I want to do a couple of references here for the songs. So there's a bit of a Syd Barrett vibe, or Gone, actually, for at least one track. If you don't know those things, that's not going to mean very much to you. They have a kind of studied naivety to them that the psychedelic movement in the 60s, some of it had this kind of feel about songs about gentleness in life. The songs are in English, so it's fairly easy to pick up for me what's going on. So overall, what would I say about this album? So for many, it'll be a bit of an oddity, certainly for people who are not used to this kind of older krautrocky kind of music. If you're used to Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift and stuff, this might come as a bit of a jar to you. For others who are more, who've listened to more of this stuff, it won't be. For some people, if you're particularly into krautrock, this is probably a good example of a krautrock album. It gives you 2 different flavours of krautrock. For me, I found it mildly enjoyable. I did feel it was a bit kind of as if it had two modes and it was trying to be two things at once, maybe, but maybe it needed that balance between the two things. It's hard to tell what it would have been like if it was all one or all the other. But yeah, it's all right. Um, and with that relatively lukewarm opinion, I'm going to ask, what's your opinion? What do you think of this album? So please do tell me by leaving a comment down there in the comments. And that's it from me for now.